In today's Community Focus, we are joined by Dr. Jim McDonald of the Rhode Island Department of Health. He joins us every week right here on 12 News Now at 4 to answer your COVID-19 questions. Dr. M, thanks again for being with us.
Ryan and Kim, I wish you a very happy Thursday. I'm glad to be with you again today.
We're glad to have you, and happy Thursday to you as well. Today, the director of the health department, Dr. Nicole Alexander-Scott, said the variant will be the dominant strain this month. So what does that mean for us exactly?
Yeah, what it really means is that mutated version of the virus has become more common, not just in Rhode Island, but the entire United States. So when modeling looks at it, what we really can see is it looks like if you get infected with COVID in the next week or two, then over half of those cases, more likely than not, you probably have the B117 variant. We kind of expect, by the end of April, it might even be almost everybody at that point. So that is what it is. And it kind of reminds me of what the governor said today. It's really a foot race between the variant and the vaccine, and that's where we really need to bring those cases back in. And we're working hard as we can, with the vaccine. We're really pushing out as much as we can.
Also this afternoon, Dr. Alexander-Scott was explaining that there's a difference between percent positive and case rate. Can you simplify those differences for us and why one is more important to you than another?
Yeah, I'm actually following the case rate more so. We reported 383 cases. Just to give you a little context, our percent positivity is only 2%, but we do more testing than any other state in the country. So I look at the case number as well. I'll give you a little context. Last year at this time, we had about 69 cases. So 383, it's still a lot of cases, which means the pandemic is still alive and well in Rhode Island. I think we're gaining traction. We're winning because we're vaccinating so many people. We've got a successful treatment. But that low positivity rate, I take that with a grain of salt. We still have a lot of cases out there.
You mentioned the race to vaccinate all of us, and Pfizer announced on Wednesday that its COVID-19 vaccine is safe and strongly protective in kids as young as 12. So do you think that children will be eligible for vaccines and maybe have their shots before they return to school in the fall?
Yeah, so in the McDonald family, when we read that report, there was a big yippee because that was not a given, and so I was very excited about that. So I think that's a reasonable thing to wonder about. Will we see this vaccine for 12 to 15-year-olds before the fall? I certainly hope so. I'm waiting to see when the Food and Drug Administration is going to schedule that emergency use authorization meeting, because they have to get that changed in order for us to do that. So we're looking forward to hearing that. And of course, there's other research going on in my younger little friends, and I'm very excited about that as well. And that's a little more complicated research, but I'm really very curious about what's going to happen with our kid friends.
Dr. McDonald, what do we know about our hospitalizations right now in terms of, is it a concentrated age group? Is there a trend among them, people who have done a lot of traveling? What are we learning from that population?
Yeah, the numbers in the hospitalizations that were plateauing, they're kind of ticking up a little bit. And it seems like it's mostly unvaccinated people, so it's younger people in the hospital. Now, because of that, their length of stay in the hospital is actually shorter. It may not sound like a big thing, but it used to be 6 days. Now it's down to 5 days. They may not sound like a big deal, but in the hospital world, that's a big difference. I think it just speaks to it's younger people put in the hospital. And I think it just really speaks to we have treatment. Now, don't forget about those MABs, those monoclonal antibodies. If you're someone who gets COVID, you're 65 or older, you have an underlying condition, talk to your doctor about MABs, because that's one of the best ways I can keep you out of the hospital if you do get COVID. And I really want to keep you out of the hospital. As great as my hospitals are, I want to keep you out of them.
Story earlier in the show about a Connecticut woman who got the vaccine, was fully vaccinated, still got coronavirus, and just earlier this week the CDC director said that there's some data showing that people who are vaccinated don't carry the virus. So can you clear up the confusion? What does it mean? Do people who have the vaccine, can they just not spread COVID? Does it reduce the symptoms? Can you simplify all of that for us?
Yeah, I think we have to still understand where is the science going to bring us, and the answer is we have to wait and see. But what we're seeing right now is it's a very effective vaccine, but there are some people, even if it's 90% effective, there's some people who are going to still get a mild case. What we think is going on, though, is that they're not transmitting disease to other people who may not be vaccinated yet. So that science still needs to be confirmed, but that's what the preliminary data is showing, and that's pretty exciting because that would mean, like other vaccines, we really are going to be in better shape. That has broad implications for the future, because if we can get more vaccine confidence in our state and across the United States in particular, we get that vaccine confidence high, we're going to get more people to get vaccinated. We're going to end this pandemic for all of us much sooner.
reopening. The president said he thinks that states should pause their reopening efforts. Do you think Rhode Island needs to make any changes to how we're doing things?
You know, the governor's worked with us really closely. He's been very helpful to us, and I think we've got a really nice incremental approach. I'm not really as worried about Rhode Island as I were about some of the other states that have lost the mask mandate. You know, I think that's where I'm more concerned, because when you lose the mask mandate and you go with much more open economy like Florida has, I'm worried, especially with the variant. I mean, I just saw some reports recently that the variant is most common in Florida, which raises a lot of questions to me about what's going on there. So I'm far more worried about other states. I'm very confident the governor and the Department of Health are working really good together. I don't think we need to pause right now. I think we're doing okay.
Dr. Jim McDonald from the Rhode Island Department of Health. As always, we appreciate your time at 4.
Thank you. Have a good week.
You too.